Good morning. Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you. Welcome to the Amqua Unitarian Universalist Congregation on this first Sunday of December, already 2023. The weather is getting colder, but we are here together with warmth in our hearts. I'm Glennis Peterson. I wish to thank our greeters, Alan Mary Herring, and I would like to draw your attention to the insert at the order of service where it lists upcoming events. Oh, I see. Well, I stand corrected here. Okay. So Merlin has them. I was going to wait until we greet the...
If any of you did get an early copy of the insert that was in there, it is about gift giving. And the policy in our congregation for everything has always been more if you can, less if you can't. And whenever gift tags were handed out, they usually carry a list of several items. And traditionally for years, we have purchased a lot of us, many of the items, or most of them, and others fewer items. And we've never requested coats. So if any of you have gotten that information, just know that there was an error made, and we are asking that you continue your gift giving of children with taking a list of a child and purchasing on that list what you can, and turning that in, and we will appreciate that. Thanks so much.
I would like you all, a gentle reminder to please turn off your phone if you have not already. And to help those of you in our community who suffer from food insecurity, we join with several Roseburg churches in support of the Fish Pantry. We will now collect your food and money for fish. We thank you all so much for your generosity. This does go a long way to help people who just don't have enough. Welcome to all of you at home. We're so glad you're joining us and that we have the ability so you can join us if you're sick or just need to stay home. It's wonderful to have all of us together in one way or the other. Today, our speaker is our dear friend, Donna Smith. And for those of you who don't know her, I will tell you a lot more about her a little bit later. When the great mosaic of humanity is treated with respect and dignity, when no person is threatened by hunger or war, when we have extended hospitality to the stranger and tended to the sick, when equity and justice reign everywhere, then we shall all be free. We light this flame to hold that moment in our spirit and in our minds until we can make it real.
Every time one person chooses a new way to respond to the challenges of life, each time an individual chooses a new option, that person then becomes a living bridge for all the others who choose to follow in that person's path. Greg Brandon.
Thank you. Now please rise as we are able and join us in singing number 323, Break Not the Circle.
Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not the circle, make it wider still, till it includes, embraces all the living. Come wander at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain unbroken. Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation.
I always love the music, don't you? Well, we do have some young ones in our midst. And so today we get to sing The Children Downstairs. Well, now the time has come in our service when we remember our joys and concerns with silent or spoken candle lighting regarding the significant milestones in our lives. I invite those who wish to light a candle, silent or spoken, to please form a line to my right. And for those with spoken candles, please give your name and try to be brief.
to me, come to me.
The offering is a sacrament of the Free Church. We are supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join us. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and wishes. For the gifts that we have received, may we be truly grateful. May we be committed to using these gifts to make a difference in the world and to expand our beloved community. And now, in a moment, Sean has an anthem for us. Forgot his cape. Oh, got a capo, yeah.
So this song is a musical expression of many of the things that people said in the candle lighting. What can I do, my brother, to respond to the madness? What can I say, my sister, to ease the pain? How can I help to heal the world that's so torn to pieces? Give me the strength and compassion, Lord, to give your love today. Give me the strength and compassion, Lord, to give your love today. When I take a look around, I see the world turned upside down. I see brothers being brutal to their brothers. Where is the love that we should have for one another? Now I hope and pray that we may see a brighter day, and may our children grow up free of fear and hatred, and help create a world where all of life is sacred. What can I do, my brother, to respond to the madness? What can I say, my sister, to ease the pain? How can I help to heal the world that's so torn to pieces? Give me the strength and compassion, Lord, to give your love today. Give me the strength and compassion, Lord, to give your love today. When I take a look around, I see that in a world torn apart, if we can keep a tender heart and see each other with forgiveness and compassion, from our loving hearts will spring forth loving action. And so with faith and trust in that of God in all of us, let's offer a helping hand to serve a higher purpose. From our loving hearts will spring forth loving service. What can I do, my brother, to respond to the madness? What can I say, my sister, to ease the pain? How can I help to heal a world that's so torn to pieces? Give me the strength and compassion, Lord, to give your love today. Give me the strength and compassion, Lord, to give your love today. Give me the strength and compassion, Lord, to give your love today.
Thank you so much, Sean. Well, I would like to introduce you to today's speaker, Donna Smith. She is a Unity Worldwide Ministry spiritual leader whose training focused on pastoral care. She is most happy when she can help others find peace and joy in their lives. She's also a Unity chaplain, a Taizé prayer leader and trainer, a Reiki master and practitioner, a nonviolent communications teacher, a student and a teacher of A Course in Miracles, and a teacher of The Way in Mastery, and is active in our Cares and Concerns ministry. Donna.
Good morning. All I need is 3 more inches. So I'm very grateful for that. No, I can do that. Thank you, dear. I've already got it. All right. Well, again, good morning. Good to see all of you, your beautiful faces. I want to thank Sean. The words were so in alignment with the message today. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Sean. And I walked in this morning and Al says, I hope you have a joke. And I do not have a joke. So John said, I tell you what, you can use one of mine. Well, I was sitting there, John, and I remembered one of mine, so I'm going to leave yours for you to give, okay? All right, so this church hired this painter to paint the outside of their building. And so he thought he would save money, and so he really thinned down the paint, and he painted the whole thing. Then the rains came, and he's standing out there, and the rains are washing all the paint off the building. And he says, "Oh God, what shall I do?" And this thundering voice came from above, and it said, "Repaint, repaint, and thin no more." So, well, this is Advent season. This is the first Sunday of Advent, and I just wanted to share with you the words from the Daily Word, which is from Unity. And it says, "As Advent season begins, I feel a quickening, a renewal deep within me as I embark upon the spiritual journey leading to Christmas. Over the year, I have hoped for lasting peace, greater love, or abiding joy. But as I have grown spiritually, I have learned to look for those things within, to claim them as aspects of my divine identity. Once I do that, I will begin to see them manifest in my life. Faith is how I begin to bring my hopes to life. Like my other divine gifts, I always have faith. It's up to me to decide how to use it. When I choose to believe that peace will blanket the earth, love will heal our hearts, and joy will bring harmony to the world's people, I am using the power of my faith to bring those visions to vivid life." So this is the first Sunday of Advent, hope and faith. All right, the mystery of the gift of the blessing. The gift of the blessing is going to fly right into the face of the ego and the brain. They will refuse to see how this could make any sense and that it defies reason. The brain is a great calculator, and it operates in a linear fashion, and it does that very well. It cannot see beyond linear, however, into the quantum dimensions of life, which is our true existence, and I know you've heard me speak of it before. The ego will reject the gift of the blessing because it does not make sense to the ego that you are fighting for, that you're not fighting for yourself. To the ego, the self is the only consideration. So today, I ask that you set aside the messages from the brain and the ego that may come up when you hear this information. Okay, just set it aside for a while, and I ask you to listen to what the gift of the blessing is and how it can truly help us. Greg Braden, who studies at great length the messages and wisdom of our ancient peoples, brings us from the wisdom of the Essenes what is called the gift of the blessing. So why do I think this is important today? We are continually inundated by the media, TV, magazines, the radio, the web, that reminds us of the suffering, the wars, the poverty, the starvation, the depression in our children even. That reminds us that your neighbor hates you or that you hate your neighbor. And it is not surprising that we feel helpless and angry. Even the most spiritually among us, it is hard not to feel those feelings. Now, the world is experiencing its greatest challenges right now. For the first time in history, we have the power to preserve or destroy ourselves and the world that we live in. Now, I know that people want better lives, and in the midst of the world, what the world is showing us today, it does seem hopeless. And I want you to know that I understand these challenges and how they can affect us. So what we have done up to now hasn't worked, has it? No. We have been relying mostly on our brains and our egos to try to get us out of situations that our brains and our egos have created. And remember the wisdom of Albert Einstein. Okay, he says we cannot solve our problems on the same level that we created them. And that's what we're trying to do, and it's not working. It's not working. And it's really not fair to the brain to expect it to do that because that is not its function at all. The brain was built to do and it does it quite well, what it does. But it cannot say anything about why. Why are you feeling what you are feeling? It cannot tell you, for instance, why your body is hurting. It just tells you that your body is hurting. Now, the egos have been in charge for making sure that you get everything you want at the expense of everyone else. That's the ego's job. And when you allow the ego to control your life, it does a really good job of that, doesn't it? And it does not care about those around you, how they feel, or what your actions, how your actions are going to affect them. You know, we can pray for peace. We can advocate peace, all in vain if we do not have peace within us. Why? Because peace is love, anger is fear, and fear and love cannot abide. We are doing nothing to bring peace on earth when we are angry that there is no peace on earth. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's time to pursue other ways to get ourselves out of this mess that we have created. And it's time we take responsibility for that we did create this mess that we're in. So what is the gift of the blessing that I want to talk about today? According to Greg Braden, it is a quality of thought, emotion, and feeling that allows us to clear the anger, resentment, and hurt from our bodies. And this is what I want you to really hear, without condoning what is happening or what has happened. It is a quality of thought, emotion, and feeling that allows us to clear the anger and the resentment and the hurt from our bodies without condoning what is happening or what has happened. It allows us to participate in the world and the challenges that the world is showing us from a position of strength, loving power, and compassion instead of fear. So it is a process that allows us to accept what has happened and acknowledge our feelings about it. And through acceptance of what has happened or is happening, the gift of the blessing acts as an emotional lubricant that helps the emotions move through the bodies instead of getting stuck. And when these emotions of anger, resentment, hate, and sadness get stuck in our bodies, we know what happens, don't we? We're most likely to experience a lot of dis-ease and unhealthy effects. Now, I think most of us, even the medical profession, are aware of this today, that when we hold on to these things, it is not healthy for us, not only for the body, but emotionally. We stay stuck. Well, these are Abraham's teachings that says that we are not sick because we think of sickness. We stay sick once we are sick because we think of sickness. But we get sick because we don't like what is happening in our world today and are holding on to it with resentment, anger, etc. Or we are still holding on to anger and talking about something that happened 25 years ago. Okay, does that make sense? Yes. So why does the gift of the blessing work? Well, there is a field of intelligence that permeates all. And, you know, science has accepted this, and they call it the quantum hologram. The Noetic Sciences Institute calls it nature's mind, or the mind of God. Our universe is a hologram. Knowing what a hologram is, we understand that each of us is a holographic piece of our universe, and each of us has the whole within us. And this means that our consciousness is holographic. And if a change in every part, every person, every tree, every rock, every galaxy, every planet, everything on the world. Greg Braden compares our universe to a computer. The hardware is our physical world. The operating system is our consciousness. The software is our feelings and prayers. So if our consciousness is being fed the software of feelings of hatred, despair, hopelessness within it, that is what is reflected out into our world. So we must clear out this kind of software. In other words, uninstall it, right? We all know that term now. Uninstall it and download new software that reflects acceptance, understanding, compassion, love, and peace. And then it begins to work because that is reflected out into the world. And as they say, Gandhi said, you have to be the change you want to see in the world. There's an ancient Native American legend that we came here as a family a long, long time ago. And for reasons we may never know, we got lost and forgot who we are. But we longed for the relationship with the divine that we had and somehow lost. And so we began to build complex machines outside of us that mirrors the relationship with the divine. All the transistors and all the satellite technology, all the technological machines that do things for us, all of these abilities are within us. And they call them quantum powers. And again, you've heard me talk about quantum powers a lot. Greg Braden and others have said that when we remember who we are, we won't need any of these machines anymore. Gives you something to think about, doesn't it? The native Aborigines who still live in the outback communicate by telepathy. We have the power to heal ourselves through thought and touch. If you have not experienced some of those healings, you have at least heard of them. I have done healings on myself by just intention and touch. It works. And when we are in contact with those quantum powers, then we have the ability to create our life any way we want it. And when you're in your quantum powers, by the way, you're in a dimension where there's only love. And so everything you create is going to be positive and loving. We're kind of like waves in the ocean. And as we come forward as a wave in our individuality, we carry with us all of the attributes of the huge ocean, the divine that we're part of. We don't lose them, but we have forgotten them. We have forgotten them. So the ancients tell us through their ancient texts that feeling is the key that empowers our prayers and our intentions. Feeling. From the Isaiah Effect by Greg Braden, he states, feeling is the prayer. It is the feeling of our prayers that opens the door and illuminates our paths to the forces of the seen as well as the unseen. Because we live in three different ways: thought, feeling, and body. And it is in bringing these three things together, he says, that we speak to this intelligent field that we call God. Consciousness, spirit, source, whatever you feel comfortable in calling it. So thought is the idea that directs our emotions. Emotion or desire is the source of power that drives us forward toward those intentions. And there are only two emotions, love and hate. And a thought without emotion is harmless. And we all have those every day, don't we? And we're glad that there's no real big feeling behind it, because later we think, ooh, I hope that doesn't really happen. and that's okay, because if you don't really have any emotion behind it, you're safe. Now, when we attach emotion to our thought, then we give the breath of life into the creations of our thoughts and our ideas. So feeling represents the union of thought and emotion and allows us to experience that union. That's where our power is. So that is why feeling is the key to prayer, and feeling is important in the gift of the blessing. Now, the main reason the gift of the blessing works is it is impossible to be in a place of judgment or polarity and be in the presence of the gift of the blessing. Impossible. Our consciousness must be cleared of anger and rage, any kind of fear actually, before we can receive the gift of the blessing. There's no power in fear. The only power we have is in love. There are four. If you want to change the world, we must transcend the fear that motivates us, through our thoughts and our actions that we are currently experiencing. We must go beyond our fears. That's very important. So the process of the gift of the blessing. There are three components to our hurts. Number one is those who suffer. Number two is those who inflict the suffering. And number three is those who witness the suffering. The ones left behind, a lot of times. In order to give and receive the gift of the blessing, we must bless those things that hurt us, and we must bless all three of those components. Now, your brain and your ego may be resisting this. How can we bless those who inflict suffering? Understandably. But I ask that you at least look at this process as one of the options or the tools that we can use to help us really bring peace into the world. So using this process, you may need to do it again and again until you have moved the emotions through your body. And you may experience tears, and that's wonderful because the tears actually represent that movement. So welcome them. Until you move these emotions of anger through your body, you will never be able to access the wisdom and the use of the guidance of the wisdom to help you in these situations. Now, to bless to me means to see the sacredness in them. So number one, it is easy to bless those who suffer. We have mirror neurons within us, which means that when we look out and we see the suffering of others, we react the same as if it were happening to us. Mirror neurons, and we all have them. And that's why we feel these things. So we feel their pain because they are us, the oneness of life. Number two, it is much more difficult to bless those who inflict the suffering. Now, here it is important to remember that they are divine beings who are so steeped in fear that their actions actually seem to them to be what is important to be done. So anyone who is acting out of fear is insane. Okay, anyone who is, you have those insane moments, don't you? You know what I'm talking about. Well, to help them, we must not send them more fear through our fearful reactions. To help them, we must send them our love, understanding, and forgiveness. Now, this does not mean we condone their actions, and I want you to please remember that. This does not mean we do not take them out of our society for a time so that they do not inflict more harm. But it does require that we use our wisdom of love to help them and not condemn them. Our society is built on punishment, and if you do not live up to the societal rules, you're going to be punished. And if we really take a look, punishment does not work. It breeds resentment, and it even leads to even more harmful actions. What if we eliminate punishment and instead work on rehabilitation and acceptance as a part of us that needs assistance? A part of us that needs assistance. Again, reminding us of the oneness of life. And as the Ubuntu people of Africa say, I am because you are. I am because you are. Number 3, we bless those who witness the suffering, which includes all of us as a witness and those left behind. And you must also realize you may be the one who is suffering and the witness, and that's usually the case. Okay. You bless yourself. You be kind to yourself. And as you do this process, you will at some point not only give the gift of the blessing, but you will receive the gift of the blessing. Because in giving, you begin to accept and understand what is happening or what happened, and then you can transcend it into a place of wisdom where you can actually be of assistance. In receiving it, you actually undergo a change in your thoughts and your body. Your heart begins to lead, and you begin to feel the love and the compassion for all of the parties involved. And once your heart begins to lead, then you will be receiving your divine wisdom, and you will know what to do. And your guidance will come through easily. Then this changes the pattern and the dynamics, and then healing can begin. New options appear that were not seen before, and we are working at that point from our wisdom and not panic and fear. I want to say one more time, remember, the giving of the gift of the blessing does not include condoning what has happened. It only allows us to accept what has happened so we may move the emotions through our bodies and transcend the level of experience and come from that higher power. Because when you get there, that's when you actually have power. Fear does not have power. It does not have power. Now, I've taught this, many years ago, this process, and I have used it, and I've used it in major events in my life and several smaller events in my life. And what happens is when you can move that through, all of a sudden you feel much lighter because you are lighter. You've allowed your light to shine, but you feel free. All of that stuff you've been carrying, you have allowed to go through you, and now you are freer, and you feel empowered. And you're empowered because now you're in tune with your higher self, who has the wonderful answers to help you through anything. That's why this is so important. That's why you might have to leave the brain and the ego just let them go out of the way for a little while. But I assure you that when you do that, and you go to your heart, and you have the intention of bringing this peace and forgiveness and rehabilitation, however it's working and whatever you're thinking about, you will know what to do. And you will feel amazing. and you will know that it's coming from your higher self. So I want to go into meditation now and just experience this a little bit, okay? So I would like for you to get really comfortable in your chair. Close your eyes and take some deep breaths. And for a few moments, we're going to let go of the world. And just pay attention to your body. Breathe and feel the air move through your body. And envision that you are releasing all tension, all worries, and any thoughts about the past, present, or the future. Just be here now. Breathe. Now bring your attention to your heart. And I want you to feel the silence of your heart. And know that this silence is your higher self, who is always within you to help and guide you. From this wonderful place of love and acceptance, bring forth into your awareness a situation, maybe an event or a person that has hurt you. So this may be a personal event or a global event. Now I want you to bless the one or those who are suffering. And be specific in the details. And name the person or the persons who are suffering, if possible. So do this now in the silence of your heart. And now, staying within your heart, bless the one or the ones who have or are inflicting the suffering. And again, be specific, if possible. And continue in the silence of your heart as you do this. And now I want you to bless the one or the ones who are witnessing the suffering. This always includes you. It includes the ones left behind, or who are looking from a distance or near. So do that in your heart now, in the silence. You may be feeling the emotions moving through you, or it may seem as though not much has happened. Whatever has happened this morning, I encourage you to give the gift of the blessing to your situation again and again until you do feel those emotions moving through. Do it until you know that you have received the gift of the blessing, and you will know that when you feel the freedom and the empowerment. So let's just take a few more minutes to be with your experience. And I will sound the bowl to bring us out of meditation. You can open your eyes now. Thank you. So now my question is, should I sit down or stand up here? Okay. So we do have some time, is that okay? And Lily's going to pass the mic if anyone has any comments or questions or, yeah.
I could follow you as long as we were dealing with suffering. But there's this little thing that kept peeking over the mountain called offense.
Yes.
And there was a great energy in the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to keep pushing it down, or in somehow trying to say, okay, once I'm through with the praying, I'll have to deal with how I feel about the offense. Because to me, I don't have that as the suffering. And I can see that it makes a big difference if you can see the suffering and not be concentrating on being offended.
And yeah, seeing that offense is just, I advocate never stuffing anything. When you stuff it, it comes back later with greater force, and you don't really feel very good about that. In order to move anything through you, in order to transcend anything, you must face it. So if you are looking at an offense, that's just your clue to look at it, okay? And then work yourself through it. It is a process. I worked through a major one in my life. It took me a long time. But the moment it happened, I just felt totally different, and you know it. You know you have released it. So when you get to that point, I promise you, you will know it. You will feel so different. But as JC said, she saw that. That's just a clue. Just go in and you know, go into it a little deeper then. That's all that means. And that's good to have those things come up, because then you can work through those and let them go. Yeah. Thanks, JC. That's great.
I have a question. There are people that come across paths with you in life, and they have with me, where I have a saying, I wish them well, but away. And they bring with them baggage, they bring with them negativity that I find I just can't be around. It doesn't mean I want to cause them to suffer or hurt in any way, but to do what you're talking about, I don't think I could do in the presence of a person like that. It's alone in a room by myself working through it would be okay, but not if they're in my face all the time. It's just difficult
Yes.
to think of that.
Yes, I understand that. And I have two sisters that do not speak to me. And I suffered over that for a long time until I realized that that's what they are choosing. It's not my choice. So I love them from afar. I still love them no matter what they say about me. I still love them because I ignore that part of it because it's just their perception of me. And to be around them is not comfortable when that ever happens. It hasn't happened for a long time. But when you go into those circumstances, if you have to be in them, you can choose not to be in them, and that's fine. But when you go into those circumstances because you kind of have to be there at that moment, go in with the intention of just accepting them the way they are and not taking on that energy. And so when you protect yourself from others' energy, I do that by just surrounding me in the light, my light, or I choose Archangel Michael to help me with that, But do something that allows you to be there, not take it on, and then that allows you to love them. What they need is love. That's what they really need. All attack is a call for love. Course in Miracles. So, and do what you need to do to protect yourself. I would choose not to be in the situation also, but if you have to be, you can do it that way. Yeah.
So much to say. One is, I'll say it as fast as I can. Thought vibration. We are thought vibration. We are creating our reality. Whatever negative experience we are experiencing, we have given out. That's the sowing and reaping karma concept of the universe, law of the universe. There are some mountains in China. They're dragon mountains where they began wushu, kung fu, Tao, and it's all about fighting in a peaceful way to defend yourself in a peaceful way. But it's all about yielding like the bamboo. Peaceful, passive, yielding, forgiving, loving, and compassionate. Because whatever energy you put out, even the tiniest thought, I hate that person really bugs me, I can't stand her. Get her away from me. You are creating that yourself. You are them. The second is we all come from a thought pattern that is parental, familial, generational thought pattern. How were we nurtured? Do we feel safe, secure, stable, valued, loved, accepted and approved of, protected, defended, and supported? And we are creating that lack of nurturing the trauma throughout our life and repeating patterns, repeating relationships until we resolve it. Peaceful, passive, yielding, forgiving, loving, and compassionate.
Yes, our thoughts are what create our reality. Yes, and here's something that helps me with my thoughts. Whatever you're thinking and you send out there, it goes along and it picks up the same energy, and it always comes back to you, always. So it's out there, it comes back with more power. So what do you want to send out there? Because it is going to come back to you. That really helps me about my thoughts, what I would send out there. And so that's very powerful to help us in, really sending out thoughts that we want to send out. And that generational conditioning is something that is a part of all of us. And at this point in our lives, it's time for us to understand it in the first place, that it has come through and it has seemed like the truth because it's been generation after generation after generation. Somewhere along the line, we have to say, wait a minute, I really don't believe that. And you have to have the courage and the responsibility to create your own thoughts about everything instead of relying on all of the thoughts, that have been coming forth generation after generation. Most people don't even realize that. But at some point, you have to be responsible for your thoughts and question them. Question them. Why do I feel this way? And then you can make more informed decisions of whether, okay, I want to continue to think this way. It's your choice, of course. Or do I want to change the way I think about this? Yeah.
I just wanted to add that the Buddhists, there's a video on YouTube called The Dakini Codes, and Shambhala filmmakers are making it. But anyway, it's all about, they say that whatever you feel, think, act, do, it vibrates out into the universe.
Absolutely.
And I realized that I could ask the divine to recognize, acknowledge, and admit what my family has done, past, present, and future, and demand that they, because of what they've done, demand that they be in eternal, sacred, positive prayer for the healing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you can change that vibration generationally.
Yes. And I also want to, what you said is absolutely true, Teresa. But we have to understand that we're only responsible for us, okay? So we really have no need to change that. We change us. And to bless them, as you were saying, bless them and send them love. I guess what I'm saying is don't take on the generational thing for you, Be responsible for you and love them no matter what they think. Love them from afar if you have to. So, was there anyone else? Thank you. I love these questions and the discussions afterwards. I love it. Thank you very much.
Well, we have one more hymn. So please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing number 142, Let There Be Light. Now you will notice there are no singers on this video. We will follow the violin's line, so he's playing the...
Whatever choices we have made in the past, they have not solved our problems. Therefore, we must look at the problems we are facing in a different way so that we don't keep getting the same results with no solutions. There is always a way to solve our problems from our innate wisdom and power. Donna Smith.
When we take fire from our chalice, it does not become less, it becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice, but we take its light and warmth with us, multiplying its power by all of our lives and sharing it with the world. Join me in singing Go Lift It Up. And thank you. And by the way, after we do sing Go Lift It Up, and I just want to remind you that we have coffee and refreshments. I think Sam has left some of his wonderful cookies, so just so you know.